Welcome to vetting or evaluating a property. So that's the business we're in, right? Property. So you want to make sure that that property is a solid deal. That is the most important thing. The investor, if they bail out, that you're backing on this deal, if they bail out and you end up with the property, you better have a solid asset. And it's not a problem if you follow the rules. So here we go. Evaluating or vetting a property. First of all, you want to make sure you're after repair value. If you're dealing with a renovation, that's ARV, after repair value. Take 3 comparables that are at least, I usually like them 3 months or less old, 90 days old, solds or under contract. But you can go out as far as 12 months. I was a registered appraiser. You can go up to about a mile and out 12 months. Depending on the area you're looking at, I would stay away from stuff that's real rural. I would stick to things that are in neighborhoods or suburbs or in the city, within the city limits, if you're in kind of a smaller town, so you can appraise that value until you get more established in your area. If you know your area really well and you know the property values, hey, go for it. We don't do many rural properties. To give you an example, like Woody Creek's a few miles out of town, I do that, but I wouldn't do something way up Snowmass as far as a fix and flip, because it's hard to find buyers that are willing to go that distance. It's easier to find a market niche in town. So look for a market that you're comfortable with and that's easy to evaluate, okay? So 3 comparables, like comparables. That means if it's architecturally, if it is a modern home, compare it to modern homes. If it is a A-frame, compare it to A-frames. And if it's a log cabin, you're going to compare it to log cabins. If it is a if it's a ranch, compare it to a ranch. If it's a bungalow, compare it to a bungalow. A colonial to a colonial. You really need, and then if it gets tricky and you can't find enough comparables, you can step into those other designs, but it's much better to use same type of architectural designs and try to stick with approximately the same era of building. So the 50s, the 60s, etc. Okay. So the area, if you're comparing something, there's some areas where the neighborhood, like in Denver, literally 2 blocks away, it's like the hood. It's rough, and then it's real nice 2 blocks on the other side of that, So there's fine lines. Make sure you're comparing properties that are in the same type of neighborhood. So if it's 3 streets over, but it's under the tracks or across the tracks, as they say, well, it's probably not a good comparable. And you're going to drive these comparables to make sure that that is a comparable property and neighborhood, okay? We do all of our, Google Maps is great, doing the drive-bys and the street views, but you really need to be on the ground and do a drive-by in person to really get a good feel for some of these areas and make sure that they are like areas. Okay. Architecture, we covered that. Beds and baths, if you're comparing a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom to a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, it just doesn't work. So you really want to try to make that, establish that with the likeness of the subject property to the comparable properties. Sometimes, you have a 4-bedroom compared with a 3-bedroom or a 3-bedroom compared with a 5-bedroom. And then you start to get a little stretched, but you are looking for, if it's your subject property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you want to compare it to 3-bedroom, 2 baths. Square footage should be within reason. Give you an example. I have a ranch down in Denver. It's 2,200 square feet. I'm comparing it from 1,800 up to about 2,600 square feet are my comparables. Okay, and we have a lot of videos on profitdevelopment.com. I actually walk people through, my investors, I'm doing a McMansion on Red Mountain, putting together the funding for that, and I walk my investors through the comparables. So it'll give you an idea, if you want to take a look at that, on how I'm valuating and establishing a certain amount of price point for that property by walking them through the comparables online on the MLS. So the lot, you know, if you have a half-acre lot on your subject property and you're comparing it to the smaller lots, like 0.17, 0.16 of an acre, well, it's not like. It's going to have quite a bit more value in most cases. I have a 0.37 lot in Lakewood that is literally $400,000 valuation with the home that it's on versus a Lakewood property with a regular 0.1617 lot, something in there, about half the size, a little less than half, literally is half the value, even though the house is almost the same size. Pretty crazy, right? Amenities in and out. So if your subject property comes with, like I said, the amenity of having a little bit of agriculture, will be able to have an equestrian center, a horse or some llamas, that could be worth huge amounts to that market versus not having that amenity. So be careful of how you compare amenities with these different comparables. Make sure the like property is the like property, okay? Now, trending up or down. Is it trending up? Most of our markets in Denver up 13, 14, 16, 17% in some areas, and then some areas are kind of flat, like parts of Aurora. So is it trending up or down? You have to anticipate that and kind of anticipate the next 6 to 12 months while you're in this deal is which way is this going to go. We have our natural trends, which is everything slows down in the fall, kind of dies off in the winter, and then picks up really hot in the spring. Summer's pretty hot, and then back down. So up and down. That's just the natural annual market, but then you have to follow the historic trends as well. And that's do a Trillia snapshot or a Zillow snapshot. Those will give you some of that information. So trending up or down, the neighborhood. Now, is it a transitional neighborhood? Is it a neighborhood we have a lot of neighborhoods in Denver and Lakewood, in Arvada, that are transitional right now. They were built in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and now these people are starting to move away or they're dying, unfortunately, and so these homes now are coming back on the market and they're being redeveloped or renovated, fix and flipped, and boom. They're really getting some huge equity gains. Real transitional area because they're going in and renovating entire neighborhoods. I know we're doing it. I've just been buying right down this block in a couple areas on Ames and on Dudley, and I'm just buy right down the block. So very transitional, and then new development. Or does it have a new development? Is it established? So it's just kind of, built in the 80s and 90s, good example of established neighborhoods. And I mean, that price, it's not going up or down, it's just kind of flat. It's just very established. The transitional neighborhoods, skyrocketing, right? And then a PUD, a planned unit development. Is there a planned unit development? Is it right on the edge of a neighborhood, with a planned unit development, kind of like our Stapleton out in Lowry, in Denver and Aurora. And we have some properties out there that are, there's huge PUD going in, and price per square foot is over $200 price per square foot for new construction. And we're picking these things up for, $60, $70 or 60 to 70 cents on the dollar, and selling them off for $150 a square foot, renovated, buying them for 60 to 70. Sorry, that was long, but so what's the neighborhood like? What's going on? Are there new development right across, like at Stapleton? Transportation. They put in this new light rail all around Denver and just put it down from a couple of our houses in Lakewood, and the prices skyrocketed because of the Y line that went through. There's now the W line, I think, that's going through near a handful of our other properties at Arvada. We're skyrocketing there too, so it makes it more convenient for people to get in and out of the city if they want to live in the suburbs. Okay, jobs. I'm not supposed to say it, but the FBI is moving into Aurora. I can't confirm or deny that, but I'm just saying. So they're moving all their major offices there. So things like that, a major, job creation in Aurora is going to obviously create some demand for housing, right? Schools, good school districts are well known to attract buyers. Cherry Creek School District attracts great buyers and increases that equity gain for the properties there. Shopping, is there good shopping, good amenities around? That's key. If they're going in, if they're already in, obviously big valuation in that property and the sustainability of being able to resell. So again and again and again, if you need to, if you're doing a buy and hold long-term, depending on what your strategy is. But what I'm saying is all these things should be taken into consideration when you're looking at that property or vetting that property. And it basically comes down to if you would be happy to take it for the money you're buying it for. And we never go 70 cents, 75 cents on the dollar in really hot areas. So if the ARV is 500,000, well, we'll do easy math, 400,000. That's kind of our average right now. We do a lot of properties between 300,000 and 400,000 in Denver. The lower end's around 200 to 250, but 400,000 is what we've been concentrating on, 300,000 to 400,000. So if the ARV is 400,000, we never want to be more than 70 to 75 cents on the dollar on that after repair value, all in with renovations and everything. So we don't want to be more than 300,000 on that $400,000 property, giving us that $100,000 margin to make money, to pay our investors, and to give that cushion to make everybody really comfortable. So that's where you should be at. You should be no more than 70 cents on the dollar, 75 in very hot markets, and 65 in kind of your tougher areas. I hope this has been informative. And like I said, there's some other videos out there. You can contact us if you want to get some of our trainings, and I'll send you some of our in-house trainings on what we actually do to train up our staff.